approaching a critical threshold where the distance between theoretical capability and deployed reality is collapsing faster than our governance frameworks can adapt.
I think we already surpassed that, and especially like with AI content or content being generated by AI. In many situations right now, we are not able to differentiate if this is AI or not.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of CodeNinja Global, an episode that is dedicated to bringing you key industry insights from some of the most influential thought leaders across the world. Today's episode features Eduardo Ordex, GenAI lead at AWS. In a journey spanning nearly 2 decades, Eduardo has led multiple AI and enterprise data strategies for some of the tech industry's most influential companies across Europe and beyond. Crowned Times AI Influencer of the Year 2024, Eduardo has been a visionary for a major part of his career, sharing knowledge and advancing digital dialogues across platforms and communities. This conversation aims to venture beyond what the current frontiers offer into the very nature of emergent machine autonomy and the future of human machine collaboration. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Eduardo, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking out the time for doing this.
Thanks a lot for bringing me here.
Awesome. Great to have you with us. So let's, dive right in. You've had such a fascinating, career journey. You've been leading teams for data solutions and AI strategy at some of the most influential technology companies in the world. Witnessing, the impact and challenges of big data over the last 2 decades, now having the power of AI at your disposal, where businesses can extract insights from unstructured data and predict trends with remarkable accuracy. How do you see the adoption curve shaping up in the next few years? That's going to be very critical.
Yeah, so I think like the point is like the access to data has been democratized, right? In the same manner that like everyone can use now, like these AI tools or like business intelligence tools. So I remember in the past this was like accessible only just for a few folks, right? Like, hey, I was a data analyst or I was like a business analyst, so I was like able more or less like to manage this amount of data and getting insights from there. So the main problem is like for most of the companies, like these decisions was the in hands of like very few amount of people, right? That usually sometimes like lead to take like the world decisions. So right now, everyone like they can took a look to the data because like every company has the data, and because of like Gen AI knowledge bases, all these tools, like it's easier to get access to this data, to be transformed, like unstructured data and structured data, and to start getting insights from there, right? And even I'm not talking about like super complex decisions for the company. I'm just talking, I don't know, I'm an account manager. Probably right now, like I can take a look to my customers, I can take a look where I'm being more successful, I can take a look to the products that for any reason, like they are, like more suitable for the customers to, like to buy in. And then I can, like plan my, like a business strategy or my sales strategy on that, right? So I'm not talking even like about taking your very high risk decisions within any company, but it's mainly on your day to day how you can be like more productive
Yeah,
and more successful based purely on data.
definitely, definitely. And moving to Gen AI, Gen AI's rapid progress is often credited to the advances in big data, transformer models, and computing power. But beneath these technical, milestones, AI seems to be reshaping not just industries, but the way we think about intelligence and computation. Looking beyond, the application domain of Gen AI, how pervasive is this technological shift? What do you think?
Yeah, so like from one side we know the way that we're using AI at the moment, right? Because I think this is going to change, or at least I hope it's going to change in the near future, right? But now we are using AI in the way that they're just tools, right? And by tool, I mean like the same we use LinkedIn, Instagram, or like any application on our smartphone. the same way we're using AI, right? I mean, like ChatGPT has become super popular, but people they are using yes as a chat application, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think this is very transformative. I mean, like, of course, you can be more productive. You can do like many different things in less amount of time, but it's not like super meaningful. What I think is going to change, right, is AI is going to be embedded into like many of the processes and many of the actions and in many of the relationships that we have today, right? And I think this is going to be the highest transformation because we expect AI even AI to take actions in the real world, right? And I think this is going to be one of the most impactful use cases. And it's like like this flying wheel, right? Like this magic flying wheel because the problem is there are a lot of promises about AI for the
Yeah.
next decade or whatever, right? And to commit these promises, you need the people you need to use these tools. So if they use these tools, there is more revenue, there is more profitability for the companies, there is more research, there is more innovation. At the same time, there is more investments from venture capitals, and you have more investment, you are going to improve over and over again. So I think everyone is going to use it, but it's going to use it for like real transformational things. I mean, if we take a look to like ChatGPT release last week with this GPT-4 model for image, it
Yeah.
was quite funny to convert all these pictures into Ghibli style.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's funny. It's you are not making any like a big shift in the society or in the companies. And I've not seen that yet. For some companies, I'm seeing it, but it's still very like a small amount of companies. But the companies that they are really like adopting AI and they are transforming this business, they are in a different level. I mean, like they're in completely different levels. The kind of things they can do, how they are being like more productive, they are how they are improving by like many points the customer experience and so on. And again, this is maybe just I don't know 5%, even less than 5%, maybe 1% of the companies that they are really being like super successful to adopt AI. So I'm super optimistic to say, like, okay, if 1% is being super successful, why not the other 99%? Because it's hard, it's complicated, but the benefits that you get from that, they are much higher. They're in a different level. The kind of things they can do is like, if you really know how to use AI, it's like you can do the things like the power of like 50 people in a team. So
Yeah.
what I'm expecting, the biggest shift that I'm expecting to have in the next coming years.
All right. And you mentioned there about how companies operating at a scale like OpenAI, and they're focusing more on this technology or create bringing a free feature like images, creating these funny images. That of course becomes a trend instead of focusing and bringing something that can actually bring a real change in the society. Is it really about that? Just that, of course, we'll get into this later, but I wanted your input on, when it comes to the AI arms race and all these big models are, competing at this level, but bringing in something that will keep them in the spotlight, not through something that actually makes a difference in the society, but something that's just trendy.
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends on which is your audience and which are your goals. I think in some manner, OpenAI is like transitioning or is pivoting from like being super focused on B2B on the business side more into the consumer side.
Yeah.
All these images from Ghibli style, I think it's a good example, but many of the other products they have released, it's a good example of how they are pivoting into more like the consumer stuff, right? And it's happening for many other applications, like like all these applications, like to create images, to create videos. They're very like a consumer focus, a B2C. Probably other companies they are like more B2B, like Anthropic. I think Anthropic they are doing a great job. They are amazing. I mean, like they have like amazing researchers there, uh, probably right now is the best model in the market for coding because they have identified like, hey, coding is the top use case for generative AI. At least right now, is the top use case because like it's widely adopted, it's easy to use, it's easy to understand, like the business case and the like value is going to bring. So Anthropic is doing great there, and they're super focused on like on the business side. But again, it depends. It depends which is your audience, and from there you need to build. I think, of course, it's good to use AI for like having fun. Again, I mean, like I'm a good example, right? I'm not going to say the opposite. If you take a look to my LinkedIn, I'm like uploading lot of funny stuff, lot of memes, and like it will be stupid from my side to say like, hey, we can use only AI, like to do like productive things. I think we need to have fun as well, and I enjoy it a lot. Like also creating like this kind of images with OpenAI. But again, one thing is having fun. One thing is having fun on the consumer side. But like I think the biggest transformations that are going to happen on the other side, and that's why what I'm expecting to see. And that's why also like I think agentic AI is going to be like a big transformation. We still have a challenge there. Probably is going to be cost. This is the biggest challenge that I'm seeing right now. I mean, like, it's not the same running, hey, I'm running 5, 6 agents. That, hey, I'm running 6 million agents. That's a different story. And to do that, you cannot use all these big models because they are like super expensive. You need to take a different approach. So I think the value is going to come from there. Like, hey, you can automate hundreds, thousands of different things just by using agents, and you can put people to do like many other stuff, right? So I think that the value is going to come from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. All right. So, moving on. I recently, a while back, I saw your post and about how DeepSeek R1 and AWS, the integration of DeepSeek R1 into the Amazon Bedrock, and that's quite, intriguing development. Could you tell us and our audience a bit about this, and how does this impact AWS's long-term vision? Especially within the context of competitive AI infrastructure on cloud.
Yeah. So like if I take a look back to April 2023 when we released Bedrock, the main idea for Bedrock, it was always the same thing. Like, hey, we don't believe like there is going to be like one single model to rule them all, right? And I know OpenAI was there, like for a long time, like leading any single benchmark, and by far, right? I mean, like the gap that you had between like OpenAI and all the others, it was huge. Right now, there are no big difference, like between OpenAI or even other proprietary models or even open source model. Maybe the gap is more like on the use case. Like, hey, if you want to do, I don't know, coding, maybe you're going to use Sonnet. If you want to fine tune for specific use cases, maybe you will use a Llama or, like Mistral. For, like writing assistance, you can use, I don't know, GPT. So the thing is like Bedrock, the main goal for Bedrock, it was to provide access to the, like best models or, like the best models from these big, like AI research labs. And we had models from Anthropic, AI 21, Mistral, Meta, Cohere, all these other providers, right? Staked from, like OpenAI and Google. So I think, like DeepSeek was super good news in general, and for many different reasons, right? This seed did this, and like nobody noticed this before. I mean, like it was not like, for example, Anthropic that they have been releasing models, like a very like constantly during the last couple of years. Like, hey, every 3 or 4 weeks a new model, so people was aware about like what's going to come from Anthropic or from Meta or from Mistral. This chip was there, and like just overnight, they broke the market with this model, right? So I think this is a news. Like, hey, still a lot of innovation is happening. It was new as well because these Chinese companies, they are not copying anymore. They are doing new stuff, and I think that's good. Like it because I think right now we're in an environment where it's just about like putting more data and putting more compute, and DeepSeek did something, that is completely revolutionary. The way that like they reward this model, right? So I think
That
that was good as well. And the third aspect that I consider that is super important, especially when you are running this model at the scales, it was the price and how like efficient it is. So if we think about agents, for example, it's just crazy. It's like,
Mm.
hey, you have like a super powerful model that you can run for, like probably like 10 times cheaper. And also happened this week or last week, but yeah, of course, nobody talk about it because they were like busy generating images on GPT. But DeepSeek, they released, like just an update of like a B3 model that is the non-reasoning one, right? Because then from the B3 they created R1, right? But like they release a new version in Hugging Face that is this version 2, well, this second version of B3 that
Okay.
like it outperformed all the other all the non-reasoning models again by far. And nobody was talking about it because they were talking about all the other stuff. But I think that's good because like I mean like as long as you have more competitors, as long as you have more options, the better for you, right? You need to compare and you need to select and you need to define, like, hey, for this specific use case, DeepSeek is going to work better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, this is natural, like, even DeepSeek, it's open source. We try to provide, like, the broadest option of, like, LLMs
Yeah.
and that's why it's on Bedrock. And we also have because we announced, for example, Reinvent last year in December. We announced the Nova models that they are our own foundation models for text, for images, for video. And the nice thing I think about like Amazon and AWS is like, hey, we don't care if there is another good model there. We are going to offer, like Anthropic, we are going to offer DeepSeek because
Yeah.
we want our customers to have, like the more choices or the more possible choices. I used to do this analogy that I think it's very clear, right? When everyone goes to, like the Amazon marketplace, right?
Mhm.
You're always going to want like two different things. You want to have more variety. I mean, like if you are looking for some specific product on the marketplace, the more variety you have, the better because you can select what you are going to buy or not, right?
Yeah.
And you always want lower prices. So if we are lowering prices, the better for you. So I think DeepSeek it covers more options. Like hey, you have more variety, you have more choice, and you have it at a very good price. So I think like it very like aligned with our strategy in terms of generative AI.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it speaks to very highly to about the democratization of AI and how the innovation is now not just confined to the West, but coming out of other engines as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's super good news. I think like China is doing great, and it's not only DeepSeek, it's
Yeah.
DeepSeek, it's Baidu, it's Alibaba, it's
Nanos. Yeah.
yeah, so it's Manu. So there are like many companies doing like great stuff there, and I think this is just the beginning. To be honest, I think uh, we are just seeing like the top of the ice.
Exactly.
Many things are coming, many good things are coming.
Yeah, exciting. Yes, exactly. All right. So let's move on to the LLMs and the Gen AI, evolution. So the large language models, have redefined Gen AI with breakthroughs in attention mechanism, scaling, and context handling. Pushing capabilities beyond what seemed possible just few years ago. But this is just a precursor towards full autonomy or general artificial intelligence. In your opinion, is the transformer-based architecture the pathway towards the next major shift in technology, or will Gen AI require a fundamental rethink?
For sure, it's not. It's a first step, but for sure, it's not Transformers. I mean, like, Transformers is great for many things. I mean, Transformer was not invested for or not invented for this specific purpose. It was going to be like mainly for translation and so on. Think it's performing super well at the scale, but it's not very efficient, and we are seeing it already, right? Like, I mean, like the number of like layers within the neural network you need to calculate is super inefficient, right? And it's purely based on like text, right? And this is the problem. Like we have used probably like all the data that we could use to train those models, and just by putting more compute, we are not solving the problem. This is like pure, like brute force, and I don't think that's the way to do it. And again, from one side, we cannot just train, like these LLMs on pure text. I think that's a mistake because if we analyze, for example, like a vision, if we analyze how to interact with the real world, we are missing that part. But there are also many other components, right? So I mean, like you were right on something, like like we could even not imagine, like even not 5 years ago, like 3 years ago, because ChatGPT 2, well, GPT 2 was like super dumb. I mean, like it wasn't even not able to generate like complete sentences, right? GPT 3 was a different story, and GPT 3.5 was like amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but this is the thing, right? Like mainly all these LLMs, they are just like trying to capture all these like statistics relationships between like the words or what between the tokens, right?
Yep.
So they are able to like pay all these different attention, and that's why they elaborate like this super like a powerful text that it seems that it's amazing. But the problem is like still, like hallucinations and so on, because I mean, like if they establish some kind of, like relationships, if they have not seen this data before, sometimes they're going to struggle, right? So I think we need to use different techniques because I mean, what that it means intelligence. People is talking about artificial general intelligence. But I don't think they really don't know what it's intelligence. I mean, like intelligence is much more than like just the IQ. I mean, like I'm not expecting just to solve like super complex mathematical problem. We are talking about like perception. We are talking about emotions. We are talking about common sense. We are talking about like many other different aspects. And transformers can give an answer for some specific problems, but not for others, right? So, for example, neurosymbolical AI, it can be an answer as well. Like if we use it, like at the same time, like neural networks, because you can take like the concept of like different entities that you can analyze, and you can provide like more deterministic answers. Uh, uh, but again, I think we will probably see like some breakthroughs in the incoming years from like research labs that they are not just like trying like to do research about putting more compute and putting more data, but
Yep.
other approaches. And again, Transformers is pretty old already. It's from 2018, or yeah, I think it's 2018, and we are in 2025. So it's in this world talking about 7 8 years old. I think it's a lot. So, but there is a problem. As I was talking before about like this magic flywheel, right? Like you need people consuming AI, so you can do more investment, you can improve your products, you can be profitable. So you get like investment from VC. So it's this magic flywheel, right? So I think right now most of the companies, and I'm talking mostly about like these big AI labs. Like it could be, I don't know, it could be Anthropic, it could be OpenAI, it could be Mistral, all these companies. They are trying to figure out how to be profitable, right? Because we have proven that like companies that they are building applications on top of LLMs, they are profitable already. I think Hugging Face is a good example, but even you have Synthesia that they are like in the UK, they are able to create this like super realistic avatars, right? So these companies, they are profitable already. Lovable, they are profitable already, and they are not training models. They're just building, like a stack on top of the LLM. So the problem is, all these companies, they have to invest huge amount of money on training these models, but they don't get enough revenue from there. So even like even if they are spending this huge amount of money, they are not getting like enough profits to be profitable. And this is what like OpenAI is suffering all the time. Like, hey, I'm making a lot of money, but I'm still losing money.
Yeah.
That's why they are also focusing on like building applications on top of the LLMs. Probably, I used to say like like these companies, they are becoming more into SaaS companies, software as a service. Like, hey, It's not only having access to the models, but it's like a tool use, is MCP, is like operator, it's all the stuff like around the LLMs.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, like, if you're trying to be profitable, you are not in a position, like, to do or to spend or to put all your cards into doing research. And if you want to come from with a most innovative approach, you need to do research. You need to don't be scared to try to break things or to like run out of the money because like you were just trying it, right? It's very complicated, and also when you are so big. I mean, like companies like OpenAI, they have grown a lot. I mean, like there are a lot of people and a lot of employees, the same for Anthropic. But for example, DeepSeek is different. DeepSeek, I think they have around 100 or 150 people. They're quite small yet. They're quite small. So if you want to do like something that is like a super relevant, you probably like I'm more like a believer of like small teams because they move faster and they are able like to do like super innovative things. So short story long, not coming from Transformer. Transformer, they are just covering a very small part. But like if you want to put emotions into your systems, Transformer is not the option. But I know sooner than later, some systems they are going to come that even they can or they will be able to generate emotions. And this seems like pretty crazy right now. But I'm not crazy. I think it's going to come like sooner than later. And I'm not saying this because you're like, I'm in a good position to say this. So, and it's not transformed.
Right, right. And you brought up, the mention of neurosymbolic AI. Um, I had this question, circling around my mind. Some argue that deep learning is hitting efficiency limits, and that the Bayesian models or hardware neurosymbolic AI might be the next leap. Do you really see industry movements in this direction?
I don't see yet an industry movement. I mean, it's more from a conceptual or theoretical point of view. Like, like people is starting to analyze, like different options because I think it's clear we are hitting a wall. And they may say, like, yeah, but you have these new reasoning models. These new reasoning models is again brute force. I mean, like, I think it's a mistake to call them reasoners because they don't reason by itself. I mean, like they're again able to generate many different patterns. It seems like they are reasoning, but they are not reasoning at all, right? But again, and I'm not saying they're like good, they are bad at all, right? I think like it's amazing what they are doing. I mean, like if you take a look to Sonnet 3.7 or even O3 or 1, the kind of problems they are going to solve, they are pretty good because it's like like by generating like during inference times all these different chain of thoughts, trying to figure out which is the best one to go through, and like doing all this stuff. I think it's good, right? But it still is pure transformers, right? So I think like in that manner, I think it's evident that we are hitting a wall because I mean, like data is limited. Yeah, you can use more compute to generate data, but still you cannot generate it at the same pace or at the pace that you need it. And it's crazy to say that because like we used to say like, hey, we have like thousands tons of data, but the reality is that like quality data to train these models is limited.
Yeah.
And for sure we'll get like a lot of evolution of compute, and probably like the evolution of compute, like like for example like NVIDIA GPUs, they will be able to train faster, to train cheaper, and even to update the model. So I expect to see like I don't know some advance in terms of I don't know knowledge update, right? Or even like auto training, like the same we used to do with like a traditional ML. Like you have this LLM that is
Yeah.
able to like get updated all the time based on your like, interactions with the users, right? I'm not talking about I'm talking about like just giving the context of the prompt in the context window. I'm talking about like updating these models all the time. So probably like we are going to see some evolution there. But again, I think we are missing the point about like data and so on. So I think from a theoretical point of view, uh, I do see across many, different, segments or, areas or, communities, talking about these different approaches like neurosymbolic AI. I was with Gary Marcus a couple of weeks ago in Andorra in a summit, and he's a truly believer of that. And he's not saying deep learning is good at all. I mean, what he's saying is like deep learning may solve one part of the problem, but it's not solving like all the problem, as a whole, right? And that's why you probably need to combine, different techniques and different approaches.
Absolutely, absolutely. And moving on to the implementation realities now. Uh, Many enterprises, they find themselves caught in what I would call capability implementation gap, and where the theoretical potential of Gen AI collides with the operational realities. So, from your vantage point, working, you work with many organizations across industries. What do you see as the most, consequential blind spots in enterprise Gen AI implementation?
Yeah. Well, there are many, and there are many, and I really like people, starting to, wondering, like, hey, this is going to bring, all the potential people is talking about, and does it worth it? Because, it takes a lot of effort to implement. So it depends on, on the nature of the companies. It's not the same a big enterprise with lot of legacy, lot of, old style of doing things. Rather than, I don't know, if you compare with an startup that they can move fast, they don't have legacy, they are, super digital and so on. So that's one of the problems. I think the other aspect that is, super challenging right now for most of the company is talent, is skills. There are people. I mean, like if let's say you are implementing agents, right, and you are using LangGraph, how many people is an expert on LangGraph? Not so many. But the same, I'm talking to LangGraph. I'm talking about MCP, right? Hey, I want to use MCP. Are you an expert on MCP? No, probably not, because it was released 3 months ago. So skills is one of the biggest problems because you need to train, and in some aspects maybe you can, subcontract, like, third party, to implement your things for you, to build the stuff for you, but this is working just in the short term. I mean, like in the long term, you need to train your people internally. And this, periods of, or these learning curves, they take some time. It's not, something that is happening within months. It takes a lot, at least, 1 year, if not more, right? So I think this is one of the main problems for companies. They don't have the talent, they don't have the skills, and they need to figure out how to do it. So this is one of the problems. I think the other problem is also about, risk, concerns, responsible AI. I mean, like it's and it's a trade-off. Like, hey, how much value is going to bring AI and how much risk? And most of the times, high value brings with it high risk at the same time.
Where is this?
Lower value, it used to come with lower risk. So people or companies, they used to say like, okay, I don't care if it's bringing you like lower value, but I want to make sure I'm not going to have you like a problem tomorrow. And that's why, like this is happening. And this is also very, like related to the culture, right? It's not the same Europe, it's not the same the US, it's not the same Asia. So depending on the region, probably, like some countries that are, like more proactive or, like more brave to do stuff. Some others that are still waiting to see what's gonna happen. But you also have the regulation, right? We have here example here in Europe, we have the EU AI, and we need to commit with this regulation. So it's not like, hey, we can do whatever we want. I know in the US is much more flexible. I know there are some countries that they have been super, innovative, and they have lead this race in terms of regulation to be, I don't know, like Singapore, right? They're trying to give like a very, a safety space to don't limit innovation, but with, like, with the different tools to make sure, customers or companies are going to innovate in the right manner. So I think we are still there. And the problem is like technology usually evolves much faster than regulations. So you also have, like these different speeds that make sometimes, like this adoption pace even more complex.
That's and so moving on to technology, that's really changing the paradigm for enterprises across the globe. The agentic AI or autonomous AI, the trajectory, from early expert systems to today's agentic architectures, reflects, evolving notions of machine autonomy itself. So, if you were to identify as some of the most profound shifts, in how we conceptualize machine agency, what would it be, and which historical analogies, beyond the typical, comparisons to industrial automation, might provide better frameworks for understanding where agentic technology is heading?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we are calling them agents, but I always do the same joke, right? Like we are calling them agents, but they don't have any agency at all, and that's the first thing, right? And most of the times, what we are seeing right now, they are not even agents; they are like pure AI workflows where you can, like implement different prompts, you can make calls to different systems in a very deterministic manner. Because as you said, like the analogies is like you mentioned this word, right? Autonomous. And autonomous brings a lot of value, but at the same time brings a lot of,
Mhm.
challenges and risks.
Yeah.
Meaning autonomous, it means like, hey, I don't have control over it. I mean, like, and this is pure non-deterministic. So if I want these agents to do 100% of the times this, hey, maybe it's doing it like 98%. So my use case is, like feasible to say like, okay, it's still okay if you like it does this 98% of the times, and 2% of the times it just do something different, right? So this is the first aspect. So what I see right now, if we do these analogies, like mainly you're like working or you're like building these AI workflows, that is super good because at the end of the day, you are using like this kind of, like a planner or this kind of, like a super capable LLM that is able to capture many different intents. And that's a good thing because you can capture like many different intents and you can define how the workflow is going to be. But you start by a non-deterministic input and you're trying to, like embed this into like a deterministic workflow. Like, okay, if this is happening, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this API call, and I'm going to generate this output. Or until I don't get the answer from the other, I won't generate this output, right? Um, so this is something that you can do. Again, in some other use cases, you can use more like autonomous systems. And I think this brings a lot of value because LLMs by themselves, they are not meaningful. I mean, like they are giving you information, they are generating images, whatever, but they are not meaningful. I mean, like you still need to do the other 50, 60, 80, 90% of the work, right? Let's say 10% is to generate the summary, you need to do all the stuff. But agents, they are doing the end to end. So, I mean, like if you are going to write the document that you need to send. The agent is going to write the document, is going to do research on the web, is going to do research in your internal systems, is going to generate a draft, is going to review the draft. It's going to select, okay, this is good or not. If it's not good enough, it's going to come back. If it's good enough, it would go through and eventually it will send it to, I don't know, somebody by using your Outlook, right? So this is meaningful because, like, you are just like a someone that is, like reviewing all the steps, right? Like, hey, yeah, you are doing it great, and it will be like having, like a team of big lot of people working for you. Yes, like by like talking to them, yeah, you need to do this, that, or the other. So I think that brings a lot of value. The main problem here is with agents that at least is not solved yet. As I said before, LLMs, they are not super good at planning. So this is one of the I don't know. I would say like, like challenges that we are facing right now with LMs. The other aspect is long-term memory. I mean, like if we are expecting these agents to solve super complex tasks, probably after many different steps, most of the LMs they used to, like forget the previous stuff, and that's why they started hallucinating, right?
Yeah.
That's why you need to move from your like super complex or expert agent or like a generic agents into more like expert one, right? So instead of having one agents doing many stuff, I will have many agents, right? Like, okay, I'm not going to be like a travel planner, but I'm going to be, like experts. Like, hey, one expert is, like searching trips on the internet. The other is booking the tickets. The other is adding notes. The other is, I don't know, whatever, right? But then you have the other talents. How you orchestrate multiple agents. And there are many different techniques. You have hierarchical agents, you have peer-to-peer, you have planners, whatever. But that's the other challenge. Like, like orchestrating multiple agents, it's also complicated. Again, I think this is part of the learning curve. I'm a big fan of agents because, as I said, like LLMs in some manner, they were not like very meaningful. But agents is different stuff because they can accomplish end-to-end tasks. And we are already seeing with like a software development life cycle, it's not about using AI to generate code. It's using these agents that they can generate the code, they can generate the documentation, they can run all the tests, they can do the debugging, they can do the end-to-end, they can do
Enter.
logic,
Yeah.
right? So I think this is going to be like super meaningful, and I expect to see a huge amount of investment in the next few years. I've been with customers already, like implementing agents. The other day I was talking to a customer that they are planning to create. I think it was around 200,000 agents. That it's crazy, 200,000 agents. So I think this is where like market is going, and yeah, I think it's great, and we are just at the very early stage.
Absolutely. And bringing in the mention of some of the multi-agent startups or organizations creating waves in the industry right now. So we mentioned Manus earlier, and it's an autonomous agent system demonstrated capabilities fundamentally challenging our assumptions about machine autonomy and bypassing the captcha systems, originally designed to differentiate humans from machines. Do you think are we approaching a critical threshold where the distance between theoretical capability and deployed reality is collapsing faster than our governance frameworks can adapt?
I think we already surpassed that,
Ah,
and especially with AI content well, or content being generated by AI. In many situations right now, we are not able to differentiate if this is AI or not. I'm not talking just about text. I'm talking about you can create an avatar that it's based on like a picture from you. It can record your voice, it can recreate your voice, and it can change to different languages, and you are not even able like to realize about that. We have seen like cases from like running tech interviews with people that they were not able to realize that. So I think we already crossed that line. Manus, I think they are doing a great work. And it's the we can come back to the previous example, right? Like, hey, they are not creating models, they are using Sonnet behind the scenes, and they have created an amazing product, right? That's why, like I don't think the most important aspect right now it's on the model. Of course, the model is like the brain, but it's how you can build the stuff on top of the model. I think Manus again, it's great for some use cases. I mean, like let's say you want to plan, like I don't know, 3 weeks holidays with your family in Patagonia. Manus is going to do like an amazing work. It's not a problem if it commits some mistakes, right? I was talking the other day with yesterday with a friend. Actually, he was using this LLM. Well, this I think he was using Manus to create like a planning for holidays in Japan. Well, he just invented a couple of islands that they were they were not existing, but like they decide or the model decide that like this island were there, right? But again, the problem is not huge. I mean, like okay, you review, okay, fine, I don't have any
yeah.
problems. So it depends on how critic is the use case. For some use cases,
Mhm.
of course, you cannot use it, or you need to use it with like human supervision all the time. Well, like in some others, there is no problem that can be like fully autonomous.
Absolutely. and bringing in up the mention of autonomy, and then comes in control and transparency as well. Then of course ethical guardrails. So we saw this, a trending video on the internet where AI agents, develop their own communication patterns. The gibberlink mode, or the gibberlink, yeah, and which was intelligible to humans, raises profound questions about system boundaries and control. How should we, reimagine the human AI collaboration model? With what principle should guide this relationship to ensure AI augments rather than, diminishes human capabilities?
Yeah. I think this is more like, like a deeper philosophical reflection.
Mm,
Let me explain, right? And this happened already before, right? I mean, like, this is going to make us better, or this is going to make us, like a more lazy, it's like, like less capable, like, like a, we could say like dumber, right? So I want to believe like AI is going to come for the goodness of humanity, and I want to believe that, like, it can cure diseases, it can, like make our lives longer, uh, increase the, like quality of life, like reduce the differences across, like different societies, different regions, and so on. So this is something that from one side, of course, is going to come, and I hope it's going to get like super democratized, right? But in the other ways, is I agree with you, it's a risk, right? Like, hey, we have, like that risk, like to depend too much on these systems, that we are losing our skills, we are losing our essence as, like as human beings, humanity, right? In some manner, this has happened already, and I think, like a social network is a good example. I mean, like right now, when you look into, like the society in general, and everything is, like super, like corrupted in the way, like there is a lot of noise. I mean, like there is a lot of noise in terms of politics, in terms of, like sports, in terms, and you are looking into Twitter, whatever, and, like it's quite complicated to get, like, or to elaborate, like a right decision or a right opinion, right? Because from outside you have media like, like traditional systems, like, I don't know, TV, radio, newspapers, and then you have the other side that they're telling a different story. So who is right? I don't have an idea right now. I mean, like today, I don't have an idea who is right. And the problem is like you are losing trust, you are losing confidence on the others, right? So I think we need to avoid that with AI. I do believe as well that, like the impact of AI in the next 10 to 15 years is something that we cannot even imagine. I think it's going to change drastically the way we live, the way we interact with each others. And you will have many other people, or many different kinds of people, right? So I'm sure you will have people that they want to have these, like super personal relationships, like, hey, touching people face to face, because I think it's our essence. But for sure, there will be others that they prefer to live in a completely different virtual abstract reality.
mm,
But we don't have to forget something. And I always say the same thing, right? We're animals. I mean, like we can be intelligent, but at the same at the end of the day, we are animals and we have instincts, right? And we are here on Earth to keep living here to survive and to make sure we are not only going to survive, but also our kids. That's why we have kids, because hey, we need to leave a legacy on the earth, and we need to make sure, like, like still we have people on the future, right? That's why we have kids. I mean, like it's part of our, like DNA, right? And I don't think nobody, no technology is going to remove that, because it's part of our DNA, right? So uh, uh, being trying to be like super, like a street with his mother, I think this is not going to change. But still, in some part of the population, for sure, like it's going to change the habits, it's going to change the way of living, it's going to change some cultures. Nothing we have gone through before. It happened when like we invented the fire, when we invented the wheel. So this is a big like shift that we are living right now today.
Yeah. And you know what? When I was watching that video, I was thinking about how we're training these models, and when they recognize that this is a human language, why would they want to, shift into a more what they would call a more efficient form of communication, right? Are we telling it that we're rely on you, you know, for better work, for more efficiency, and the work that we do is not efficient enough? So are we pushing it into this realm where the AI is able to comprehend or create this analogy that this is not efficient enough, what I'm doing is more, much more efficient, and to the point where we go, it realizes that it doesn't need humans. Have the boundaries.
Yeah. It's complicated. That's why, like again, if we come back to the previous point, that's why I believe like regulations they are important. I mean, like we need to define rules, right? And if you don't define rule, I mean, like freedom is not to don't have any kind of regulation, right? Sometimes people think like a freedom is to do whatever you want, and that's not right. I mean, like you need to do whatever you want within a framework, right? I mean, like you cannot just go come here and take my car because you need the car, right? So you need to act like within a framework, and I think this is the AI regulation is a framework to make sure we are going to use this technology in the right manner. So we need to define those boundaries. We need to define those boundaries. I think, for example, the EU AI Act in terms of trying to identify, like different kind of use cases, like high risk, low risk, and maybe they had made some mistake in terms of, okay, this will be a no risk, and you are qualifying as high risk. But I mean, like I think the approach is correct in that manner, right? In that manner. So I think we need to do the same thing with this, like, hey, we need to avoid like like AI is taking some like or is crossing some frontiers that we can regret in the future. So that's super important, and we are responsible to do that. We are responsible to do this establish this regulation and to adopt it in the right way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, so moving on to the industry competition, that's going on right now at such a rapid pace. We're looking at a very intense competition among frontier model providers, OpenAI, XAI, Anthropic, and so many others. Do you primarily see this as a race for market dominance, or are these organizations competing to shape a different versions of it, like we discussed earlier? Are they really competing to shape a different versions of AI's role in a society? And just to add here, given that no single model can excel across all enterprise use cases, what methodologies have you found most effective for organizations to efficiently experiment across multiple models?
So I think there was market dominance in the past. I mean, like OpenAI has been living this for a couple of years of this since they released ChatGPT, and they didn't have any competitor that it was even like a bit close to them. I mean, like they were like by far, like ahead everyone. This is not happening anymore. I mean, like, and it's not only proprietary models; it's open source as well. I mean, like Mistral is open source, well, it's open weights, and Meta is open weights as well, but DeepSeek is open source, right? So right now, the best model is open source. That's a reality. So I think that's good because like you ensure that there's not any dominance for like just one single player that they have all the control, right? And this is because like everyone is using the same cards, as I said before. I mean, like there is no silver bullet here. It's transformers. You need data. You need compute. End of story. And I think again that's good because you at least you ensure that like this is going to be democratized in some manner, right? Again, the thing is going to be like in the future if like some big advance happens, is like who is going to take control over it, right? Linux is a good example about how we did things in the past, right? I mean, like if you take a look to the cloud, most of the servers there are powered by Linux, right? And Linux is open source. Everyone has contributed to Linux, right? And I'm big fan of it because I'm computer scientist and I studied this at when I was at the university, and I think it was like a great approach. I always consider like, hey, open source is the path that you should follow. But on the other side, you also mentioned like, hey, how these companies they can make sure they have super expert models, so models excelling at some specific tasks, right? And I think we now still fine tuning is complex. That's why many companies are not still fine tuning models, but it's not even fine tuning. It's about having the right data to fine tune the model. So in companies, they don't have the right data to fine-tune models because it's always the same cycle, right? It's like the chicken and the egg. Like, hey, you need to you need to have this use case in place to generate good data. If you have this good data, you can update it to the model, right? To fine tune for specific purposes. So, but I think this is something that is going to come eventually. But again, the fine tuning process needs to be much more simple and to generate much better results. So again, this is something that probably I want to believe we will see at some point of time. Again, doesn't make sense to fine tune, for example, a 70B model into another 70B model, right? I mean, like this is useless. But I'm thinking more about, okay, I have, for example, and it could be like a fine tuning. It could be like, hey, first I fine tune a model and then I do a distillation. So I can transition from, I don't know, 300 billion models into a 2 or 3 billion models. That's the real value. That's the real value. And I think at some point of time, we'll be there. We'll be there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So finishing, of the one final question. You have a unique vantage point at the intersection of research advances and practical enterprise application. Looking ahead, which emerging capabilities or breakthroughs in the AI landscape are you most excited about? Whether in specialized models or multi-model systems or advanced agent architectures.
So I'm super bullish about agents, really improve the quality of these agents and to accomplish end-to-end task, because I mean like from there we are going to see real value for most of the companies. Like, hey, I think that the productivity boost there is going to be huge, and it's going to improve many other stuff. It's going to improve like customer experience. It's going to improve the resolution of problems. It's going to improve like many different stuffs, right? So I think agentic AI, and I'm talking in 1 to 3 years horizon, because more than that, I know it's complicated. This is one of the biggest topics for me, and probably the other is, as I said before, right? All these LLMs has been trained essentially in text data, and they are very good at these very specific aspects, but they don't have any kind of agency or whatever, right? And I think we will start seeing very soon systems that they can express some kind of emotions, some kind of feelings, and so on. And probably this is going to be the first step for new systems to come in the future. Because again, if you are thinking about agents, at the end of the day, you want to give those agents an agency, right? And they don't have it now. That's why it's super important to put this.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of this has been absolutely fascinating discussions. Your insights on AI's trajectory from foundational models to agentic intelligence has really pushed the conversation beyond the usual surface level takes, and I'm sure our audience will walk away with much deeper understanding of not just where AI is today, but of course where it's heading in the near future. We would love to have you again on the podcast. And once again, thank you so much for taking out the time for doing this.
I enjoyed a lot, Bilal. It was a pleasure. So thank you for bringing me here. Thanks a lot.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.